Welcome back to the deep dive. We've got quite a stack of sources here today, really dense stuff.
Yeah, it's heavy material. We're talking high stakes, galactic politics, this long-running mystical breeding program, and some seriously intense ecological warfare on Arrakis.
Right, so our mission, yours and mine, is to sort of cut through all that complexity, pull out the key threads, and understand the power struggle that basically reshapes the universe, all centered on this desert planet.
And it's more than just a power struggle, isn't it? It's really about control. Control of information, genetics, resources. Knowledge is the real weapon here.
Okay.
These sources really show how all these different forces, political, religious, economic, ectonation, they all converge on Arrakis, and specifically on the Atreides family.
Makes sense. So let's lay out the main threads we need to follow. First, there's that secret breeding program, the one that ultimately produced Paul Atreides.
The Bene Gesserit one.
Yeah. Second, this incredibly complex political trap, involving the great houses and the emperor himself.
A nasty setup. Yeah.
And third, we absolutely have to talk about the Fremen, the native people, and their whole environmental culture, which is almost like a religion in itself.
Couldn't tell the story without them. We probably have to start with the Bene Gesserit, the BG. They've been operating for centuries, hiding behind this front, this semi-mystic school.
Right, but the mysticism was just cover, wasn't it?
Pretty much. The real goal was biological, genetic. A selective breeding program aiming for one specific outcome. The Kwisatz Haderach.
Kwisatz Haderach. Even the name sounds powerful. It means one who can be many places at once, basically.
Yeah, or as the more technical sources put it, a human with mental powers, letting him understand and use higher dimensions.
So they're trying to breed a superhuman, essentially. Control human evolution. That's kind of chilling when you think about it.
It's the ultimate control fantasy, really. But, even the best laid plans, this whole centuries-long project gets thrown completely off track.
Because of Lady Jessica.
Exactly, one person's choice. She decides to give Duke Leto the son he wants, Paul, instead of the daughter the BG ordered her to have.
And why? Was it just love for the Duke?
That was part of it, definitely. But the sources also say she sensed the possibility that Paul himself could be the Kwisatz Haderach, like maybe he was it, ahead of schedule. A huge gamble on her part.
Wow, okay, so that decision basically fast-forwards their whole plan and leads straight to that really intense test, right? The Gom Jabbar.
Oh, yeah. Administered by the Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mohayim. And she's not just some BG leader, she's the Emperor's truth-sayer, high stakes.
And the test is supposed to determine if Paul is human. What does that even mean in this context?
It's a specific definition they use. It's not about intelligence, it's about control, about resisting instinct.
Right, the animal chews off its leg to escape the trap right now.
But the human endures the pain, thinks strategically, to remove the threat to the species, not just itself. Can Paul override his survival instinct for a bigger purpose?
So he puts his hand in that box, feels unbearable pain, thinks it's going to be destroyed.
Yeah, burning, itching, pure agony. He's convinced it's gone.
But then, it's fine, unmarked. He passed their test.
He proved he could endure, could control the animal impulse. And that capacity is immediately put to the test in the real world because he walks right out of that trial and into a political firestorm.
A confirmed trap. Let's connect those dots. The Atreides moved to Arrakis, this desert planet that's the only source of the spice melange.
The most valuable stuff in the universe, yeah. Controls everything.
The move was engineered by Baron Harkonnen, their sworn enemy, but crucially, with the Emperor pulling the strings behind the scenes.
Absolutely. The Emperor needed the Harkonnens weakened too, maybe, but he definitely wanted the Atreides gone. And CHOAM, the big economic conglomerate, its profits depend entirely on that spice. So the flow must continue.
And the Harkonnens weren't just improvising. They'd been planning this for ages.
Oh, yeah. The sources say they'd been stockpiling spice for over 20 years, building up reserves for when they took back Arrakis and could control the price, anticipating the disruption. It's incredible foresight in a villainous way.
A whole financial war planned out. And the Emperor didn't just give his blessing, he actively participated. He sent his own elite troops.
His Sardaukar. Terrifying soldiers, and the key detail. They were disguised in Harkonnen uniforms. Plausible deniability for the Emperor, but his boot was on their necks.
Where do these Sardaukar even come from? They sound unstoppable.
They're trained on the Emperor's prison planet, Salusa Secundus. It's described as this incredibly harsh environment where only the toughest survive, the weak are culled, Brutal natural selection.
And there's a parallel drawn with Arrakis itself, isn't there?
Exactly. One source notes Arrakis is every bit as terrible a place. The Emperor knew that environment breeds tough fighters. He's weaponizing harsh conditions, basically.
Yeah.
Seleucus Secundus first, then Arrakis.
But the Harkonnen-Emperor alliance wasn't the only threat. The Atreides were also betrayed from within. Dr. Ye.
Yeah, the Suk school doctor. Supposedly immune to betrayal because of imperial conditioning. That deep psychological training that's meant to be unbreakable. Duke Leto trusted him completely because of it.
So how did he break it? What did the Baron offer him?
It wasn't greed. It was, well, tragic. The Baron had captured Yua's wife, Wana. Yua betrayed the Duke in a desperate, doomed bargain to save her. He broke the unbreakable conditioning for love, essentially.
Wow, that adds another layer. But Yue did try to give the Duke a chance for revenge.
He did, a final act of loyalty, maybe. He gave Leto a fake tooth with a poison gas capsule inside.
Which Leto used when captured, trying to take out the Baron.
Right, he missed the Baron, sadly for him, but he did manage to kill Peter de Vries, the Baron's Mentat advisor, a small victory in defeat.
Even facing betrayal, Duke Leto had his own long game, didn't he? He suspected a trap.
Oh, absolutely. He wasn't naive. His big strategic bet was on what he called desert power, the Fremen.
He thought they could be as strong as the Sardaukar.
Potentially, yes. He saw their potential as this massive, untapped fighting force, perfectly adapted to Arrakis. That's why he sent Duncan Idaho ahead.
Duncan Idaho. To build trust.
Yeah, to negotiate, make contact. Leto hoped the Fremen would see Duncan's character, the sources call him Duncan the Moral, and judge the Atreides positively through him.
And the Duke. He was playing internal politics too, wasn't he? Acting cold towards Jessica.
That was part of his own strategy, yeah. He needed to smoke out the real traitor. By creating this illusion of friction with Jessica, the person everyone expected might betray him because of her BG background, he hoped the actual mole would feel safer, maybe get careless.
So it was a performance. Calculated cruelty, almost.
It seems so. He later told Paul he never doubted her loyalty or love. It was purely strategic, a hard choice for a leader in a deadly situation.
Okay, let's shift focus to the planet itself, Arrakis. The environment isn't just a backdrop. It dictates everything.
Absolutely. Water is life, literally and figuratively. We all know the still suits, the tech for reclaiming body moisture.
Right. Sweat, breath, everything recycled.
But think about the cultural impact. The Fremen apparently stink to heaven in enclosed spaces because wasting water on, say, washing clothes frequently is unthinkable. Practicality over comfort.
And those customs around water, they're intense. Beggars collecting drops from towels.
Exactly. And Paul shedding tears for a dead man, giving moisture to the dead. That's seen as this incredible sign of respect, of giving away the most precious thing you have.
It even forms their economy. Water counters.
Metal rings, used as part of a bride's dowry, but also to track water debts between people, and the interest rate is brutal, repaying 10 for 1. Water isn't just a resource. It's currency, law, social structure, all tied together.
And all of this scarcity is fundamentally linked to the sandworms, Jai-Hulud, these giant creatures.
Huge, terrifying. But the Fremen don't want to destroy them. They can't.
Because they're part of the spice cycle.
Precisely. The sources link the little makers, the sand plankton, to the pre-spice mass deep underground. The worms guard that process, and their own life cycle produces the melange, the spice. No worms, no spice.
So the ecosystem is completely interconnected.
Yeah.
And the worms also provide a kind of defense.
In a way, yeah. They're incredibly sensitive to energy shields, the kind used in standard off-world warfare. Shields drive them into a killing frenzy.
So you can't just bring in typical high-tech armies and expect to win. It forces you to adapt to Arrakis' terms.
Exactly. Low-tech, knives, guerrilla tactics, which the Fremen have mastered. And of course, they ride the worms, ultimate mastery of their environment.
Which connects to Liet Kynes' dream. He was the imperial planetologist, but secretly the Fremen leader.
Right. Using his official position as cover for this incredible long-term Fremen project, terraforming Arrakis.
Turning the desert green, making it a paradise with open water. How long would that take?
Their plans span generations. 300 to 500 years, the sources say. Using things like wind traps to capture atmospheric moisture. Slowly changing the climate by controlling just a tiny percentage, like 3%, of the planet's energy surface.
That level of patience, that faith in a future centuries away, it's completely alien compared to the great houses fighting over the next spice shipment.
Totally different timescale. It's ecological jihad, almost. A slow, deliberate transformation driven by collective will.
But even this deeply ingrained Fremen culture wasn't entirely organic, was it? The Bene Gesserit had meddled there, too.
Ah, yes. The Missionaria Predictiva. The BG branch that plants myths and prophecies in primitive cultures just in case a BG sister ever needs refuge or needs to manipulate the population.
So the Fremen legends of the Lisan al-Gaib, the voice from the outer world, the Messiah figure who would bring water.
And the Sayadina, their version of Reverend Mothers, those ideas were seeded by the Bene Gesserit centuries ago. The Fremen were, as one source puts it, beautifully prepared to believe when Paul and Jessica arrived.
Wow. So the BG laid the cultural groundwork and the spice lit the match. Paul's arrival is the catalyst.
Exactly. You have his Bene Gesserit training, his mentat potential, and then just massive, constant exposure to spice on Arrakis. It awakens something in him.
The sleeper, his prescience.
His ability to see the future, yeah. But it's not just glimpses. The sources talk about naked time, past, present, future, all mingling, all accessible at once. Hyperconsciousness.
Which sounds amazing, but for Paul it leads to something terrifying.
A terrible purpose, he calls it. He sees the path forward, the only path that works, and it involves leading a galactic holy war, a jihad in his name. That's when he takes the Fremen name Wad-Dibba, the one who points the way.
And his mother, Jessica, she undergoes her own transformation too. The water of life.
Right, the illuminating poison. It's the concentrated liquid exhalation from a drowning sandworm, extremely dangerous. She takes it, survives, and becomes the Fremen's Reverend Mother, the Sayadina.
And gains the memories of the previous one.
Yes, all the female ancestral memories held by the previous Reverend Mother. She fully integrates into Fremen power structures.
But then there's Aelia, Paul's sister.
Yeah.
Born on Arrakis after Jessica took the water of life.
Which means Aaliyah was exposed in the womb. She's born, pre-born, essentially. A fully conscious mind with access to all those ancestral memories inside the body of a child.
A terrible anomaly for the Bene Gesserit. She's aware before birth, something they thought impossible and potentially disastrous, completely outside their control.
Totally. She's a Reverend Mother from birth, but without the BG discipline, she's something new and frightening to them.
So Paul now has the prescience, the Fremen loyalty. His mother is their religious leader. How does he clinch the victory?
He uses all of it. Tactically, he breaks the rules. He uses family atomics, nuclear weapons, banned by the Great Convention, but he uses them strategically against the shield wall, a natural rock formation protecting the main enemy forces.
Not against people directly, but to breach their defenses. Clever loophole.
Opens the way for the Fremen charge, riding sandworms. A decisive military victory. But his ultimate weapon isn't military.
What's economic, right, against a spacing guild.
Exactly. The guild controls all interstellar travel, and they depend entirely on the spice for their navigators to see safe paths through space.
So Paul threatens the spice itself.
He threatens to destroy it, to use that same water of life, which is poisonous to the sandworms, over a pre-spice mass. This would break the cycle, end the spice forever.
Which would paralyze the entire universe. Halt all travel, all trade.
Complete checkmate. The guild folds immediately. They need the spice more than they fear Paul. He now controls the choke point of the entire Imperium.
So the military victory, control of the spice.
Yeah.
What's left?
The personal and the political. He has to deal with the last Harkonnen heir, Fade Rotha.
The duel. Cannily, they call it. Formal vendetta.
Right, and Fade tries every dirty trick, poisons on the blade, hidden weapons.
But Paul anticipates it with his prescience.
Seems like it, or maybe just superior skill and awareness. He kills Fade, then he turns to the Emperor.
Forces him to abdicate.
Pretty much. He demands the Emperor's daughter, Princess Irulan, in marriage. A political marriage to legitimize his claim to the throne.
So he combines military power, religious authority, economic control, and the imperial bloodline. He has it all.
It's the perfect storm, really. The culmination of the BG breeding, Leto's gamble on desert power, the Fremen's own deep plans, and Paul's unique transformation through the spice. All converging. Papa Muad'Dib holds all the levers now.
But there's that immediate paradox, isn't there? He promises the Fremen their dream, flowing water here open to the sky. He'll terraform Arrakis.
Fulfills Liet Kyne's vision, but in the same breath, he says there will always be desert on Arrakis and trials to toughen a man.
So paradise, but not entirely. He understands the need for that harshness, the thing that made the Fremen strong.
It seems like he accepts that their strength came from scarcity, from the struggle. Maybe perfect ease isn't the goal, even if perfect control is. He rejected the Bene Gesserit's idea of a controllable future they could manage.
But his own prescience locked him in, didn't it? He saw the future, but couldn't change the main path.
That's the terrible irony. He achieved godlike awareness only to see that it led inexorably towards this devastating jihad, this galactic war fought in his name. Remember what Reverend Mother Mufiyam warned?
Uh-huh. When religion and politics ride the same cart.
And that cart is driven by a living holy man, nothing can stand in their path. Paul became that living holy man, the Baraka. His victory was the start of the jihad he dreaded.
So the final thought for you, the listener. Paul achieved absolute power, perfect knowledge of what was coming. But that knowledge forced him onto a path of destruction. So what's the real cost of that kind of power? Was his victory truly his choice, or is he just the first slave to his own prophecy? Something to ponder until our next deep dive.